Greetings, everyone. I must say there's really plenty of people here today. I must say the quality of our Zoom calls increased by time, and I suppose suspect the reason is this situation. I had some philosophical thoughts that maybe it should be a feature that something like that's supposed to happen to make Zoom conference more convenient for people. But some of course unexpected turns of events always strengthen and unite people together because we all in the same boat. Okay, we started from a positive note. Now let's get to the business. Of course, there is a question and answer section, but we're not gonna read all the questions because one my answer can cover several of them, like five and seven. We just highlight the most important that cover most of the topic. So yes, Marika already told you some information, something she could share because on the conclave we have a common collective Zoom conferences when we talk about different decisions we must make, the different thoughts and plans. Also, we're gonna summarize a lot, like, is it safe to work in such direction as arbitration process? What kind of work we done for fixing the errors that were made, the situation, how it was fixed? What about the arbitration itself? Is it profitable? Is it legal? The situation with dirty cryptocurrency and how the company would work? All that gonna be summarized in one answer because that's the topics that connect it together. I saw some people talking about the transfer. Well, the transfer is one theme because we're gonna talking about the situation. It could be bankruptcy, it could be something approximately close to that situation when the community is basically transferred into a different product with different conditions, different rules and terms. It's not the same case here because we're talking about how we continue to work in the same direction. And basically, the strategy we're using for arbitration is the same. And the only thing we go into strength is the security, but security not of the data of members or the platform because there was no problems with that. Nevertheless, despite the fact that we were constantly bombarded by DOS attacks and other systematic problems, it's never actually interrupted the work. It's never actually somehow caused any problems for the company and for the investor and for the partners. We going to talk about strengthening the security of funds because that's exactly on what we worked to actually what conducted from this situation. And yes, we're talking not about the transfer because it's not exactly that. We're changing only some part of conditions that should be changed to increase the security of funds, and we're gonna talk about that as well. So let's make a little adjustment here. We're going through step by step because, of course, it's a translation. There is information that must be transmitted to the community on English and on Russian language. So, yes, we're gonna talk about it straightforward, but step by step, not to lose any thoughts that could actually be important and you need to pay attention as well. So yes, during the time when Arbico worked the first period, when we initially started, we had a roadmap. And of course, we followed that roadmap. We created some ideas. We implemented some really perspective offer strategies like working with foundations, with funds, with neobanking. And yes, that's exactly what developed in parallel because we wanted not only have the income and profit from closing the contract, but actually also working with some big investors, which is actually the foundation. And the situation that occurred actually opened us some new decisions we must make because, yes, of course, we developed that in parallel and we could use such tools. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about it, what we prepared for working with foundations and what we decided to do with such tools. So yes, if we're going to talk about the whole situation here, of course, we prepared the trading platforms for working with such foundations. The reason for that is actually very important. First of all, it's work and interacting with cryptocurrencies, which is actually a lot. For trading platform, it could be holding, exchanging, transferring, keeping. There's a lot of interaction, not only with cryptocurrency, but also with fiat currency. And yes, that's a lot of perspective here. Also, we acting with the arbitration bots, which is also working for us. It's dedicating of our work. It's showing and of course transparently and explaining how we work in an arbitration direction and so on. We, of course, understand that we working with exchanges initially, that we giving funds to third parties actually to work with arbitration process and to actually get those funds back. It's complicated because there's a lot of reasons and requests that should be met so we could get them back. It's of course for the exchanges, it's a reason if the cryptocurrency was dirty, if it was used for any kind of cunning and dirty purposes, even terrorism, because when we withdraw funds for the wallets of the members, we don't know what they use in there for. And if there was something approximately bad, something close to that, there could be a different situation with us that we must actually try to understand. And we worked with managers, we worked with the people that were loyal to us, that support our decision and understand how everything works. So it was in our minds that something like that could have happened. Not necessarily, of course, it doesn't mean it should be predicted, but it happened. Nevertheless, we working with the tool we had for Foundation. It's not white labeled. We're not using some other core or exchange core for that because we can't change the engine inside. We can't change anything what's inside the core, and it's not suitable for arbitration for what we doing in our activity, because when we talking about the exchange we need to have certain adjustments to work in such direction, and for that white label is not working. That's the reason why we straightforward from a white blank, from blank paper, created our own trading exchange so we could work with that.
Далее, помимо того, что мы создавали, да, эти биржи, юридическое сопровождение. И тут тоже, с одной стороны, в целом не есть проблема купить готовую компанию, да, с лицензией, которая позволяет работать. Но поскольку у нас биржи находятся в разных континентах, и мы работаем с разной ликвидностью, по континентам. Соответственно, нам надо было иметь документы, которые бы позволяли нам работать. Что такое юридический документ с биржи? Почему я так детально это объясняю? Вы поймете в конце, тех, кто дойдет до конца и нашего сегодняшнего зума и получит ответы также касательно Арбикор. Все этого ждут. Но я сказал, это идет рассказом, да? Вот,
Мгм.
продолжаем. Или ты переведешь?
Давайте переведу.
Давай.
Also, there is a legal following, the legal part of that, because of course it could be easy to buy a company with all needed licenses to work with certain exchanges, but we're talking about exchanges in different parts of the world, on a different continent, not just countries, and that means a different legal work with documentations, with paper in different countries, and it's also a complicated process that we must go through.
Помимо юридических документов, опять же, повторюсь, да, которые, в принципе, можно купить, одна из основных, скажем так, и проблем, и с другой стороны, это является безопасность для пользователей, да, которые будут использовать ту или иную биржу, это уставной капитал на этой бирже. То есть, помимо того, что мы приобретаем компанию, подтверждаем свою лицензию, подтверждаем свою деятельность, мы, в зависимости от юрисдикции, на расчетные счета обязаны положить некие суммы средств для обеспечения и правильной работы самих бирж. И я больше того скажу, что вот, допустим, да, сейчас не про это в целом идет речь, но старт начинается от 500 000 евро, в зависимости от континента. И эта работа уже проделана на текущий момент времени.
And if we're talking about legal documents, that's the reason to work with that. It's not only for ourselves because it's complicated, but still it's increased the security of members and for us as a company. There's a reason why I'm talking to you about legal matter. It's always the reason that it's important for everyone to know. In the end of this Zoom conference, you will understand. And of course, there's conditions for every different legal document in different countries, different liquidity, different rules and terms. Even the such term as the account that's supposed to have some funds for supporting the whole company, and it's starting from 1.5 million of euro, and we actually met to that condition.
Дальше. Все это хорошо. Биржа есть, документы есть. А где же деньги на бирже, да? То есть как же, мы же не можем делать арбитраж, собственно, средства, грубо говоря, свои собственные средства, и какая выгода вообще компании при таких вот действиях. Соответственно, что дальше мы делали и уже это сделано. То есть у нас есть свои маркетмейкеры, это первое. Второе. Есть биржи, которые поставляют ликвидность. Давайте так, обобщим. Есть компании, с которыми мы работаем, которые предоставляют от 3 до 30 бирж на одну биржу, и эта ликвидность легко интегрируется на биржу, которая это запрашивает. Соответственно, что это дает? То есть мы работаем в диапазоне, у нас стакан.
Okay, so if we continue, we have the exchange, we have documentation, but where could we get funds? That's one of the questions because we couldn't work with just our funds where there's a convenient terms for us as a company, but we have our own market makers. That's one point. We have companies that provide us with liquidity from different exchanges, from 3 to 30 different exchanges. Each company is different that depending on the region, on the country, on what company actually provide, and there is a great spread between them, like from USA and Asia. That's always could be a difference. But of course, we work in parallel not with just exchanges, but we also work with companies that provide liquidity from that exchanges. And if we answer on such questions as is there need any promotions of our exchange, is there any need for doing something ourselves, so then no and no. We can work with companies, we had connections, and we make a lot of work in that direction, so make sure we have a decent front, a decent foundation for that. Because even if one exchange is disabled for any reason, that could happen like technical problem or something else, we still have a lot of liquidity provided by different other companies and exchanges. So the work will proceed. We in no connection with third parties that we actually need to continue to work to make connections like a chain. We have ourselves, we have the clients. So yes, that's how we work. So if we repeating the part of different work that was done, is we make a conclusion from it, is that we before we given control over funds to third parties, which is exchange. And that's mean they could manipulate doing everything they want with such funds. And if they wanted, they could take such funds, which is exactly the approximate situation that happened. And the reason why we wanted to go in parallel with working with foundations is because we working directly with each other, with no third parties. Because the one thing that foundations never liked is losing money, losing profit. And working with foundations mean legal and secure precision, which is great because we getting rid from the most expensive and most risk problem is giving our foundation funds to the third parties. We got rid from the moments that could happen and that was impossible because we had situation that we witnessed, we see what could happen, We just continue our work with more advantages. We had our own exchanges. We are the one who pulling the lever. We checking cryptocurrencies, is it dirty or not. We are getting settings on the work, working with our own arbitration bots. We are in control of our own funds, and no third party that could make it risky or maybe something that could happen to our own funds. It could be funds of the company, funds of the members, doesn't matter. Now we got rid from the most dangerous thing and risk we had before. And that's advantage for everyone. But if we try to summarize what the partner actually having if he stay with our company, let's turn down the fingers right now. First of all is legal following. Because the factor of the income that's going through the trading platform, that which is our own, is legal. We have documentation, we have licenses, and the member can actually confirm that he has a legal income that he received from a legal platform, legal trading on a legal trading platform. That is the most perfect advantage for the member because he can actually prove that he has a legal profit. Next is this model is actually have much less risk. It's actually no risk model because of course we just got rid from the most dangerous third parties that could actually somehow just put on their knees both the company and members and do what they want because we given control over the funds before. But right now it's not like that. Third one is, of course, transparency, because since you working and actually using our trading platform, you can see on a trading platform and in your trading account all the orders, all the transactions, all the funds, their numbers. You can actually check that this order is right, that the numbers here of these funds is actually correct, as everything goes smoothly, all the operations between the exchanges in our own control. And it's also mean that all the interaction between our own exchanges is legal and could be checked, verified, and reported. Because we have open pools and they're open publicly, you can check them as well, and it's great because transparency that we showed before is just transmitted on the different resource, but with the same direction, with the same core. And it's great because that's what the partner actually getting as advantages, and some of them not actually given on other platforms. And if we're talking about the legal part of it, we interacting with different exchanges, and if there could be some, let's say, someone would take a turn and announce that we do in arbitration. We had trading platforms. There's a lot of liquidity. There's a lot of movement here. Can you prove that we do in arbitration? And yes, that's all. So now we got from some delicate moments and get to the real stuff. Because there was a lot of different suggestions that happened. Such like, let's make little examples. We had several different suggestions. So one of them is that we specifically close for our own benefit, that we make it specifically. Let's be real. Okay, let's get real. The company closed, and that's including the fact that we had a stable income on average with the contract up to 8%. It's including also the matter of fact that we had 10, 10,000 network leaders, and actually mean that 87% of the members with the boost going into the break even of the contract. If without the boost, okay, it's 74%, which is still high as hell. So yes, such topic is irrelevant and not actually correct. Second one is we actually privatized the funds. We just took them. Once again, when we announce the situation, when we talk about what happened, we we promised and we announced that when the whole legal workers gonna start understand the situation, when they get news, they get details about the taken funds back, we show all the volumes, all the accounts that were blocked, banned, for what reason, that we show the exactly accounts and wallets, what happened. And if for some reason the exchange would refuse in such requests, we basically would have nothing to lose. We could just say to you that go and bother the exchanges because we would lose everything at that point. But no, it's not like that. And the third suggestion is that the company just having additional funding, like the second wind. But again, if we would just be a hype project that wanted to make even more profit on you, would we actually flash all the details on what's gonna be inside our system? Would we be so transparent before and even now? And I just basically lay out on you the whole carte blanche with four exchanges, with one trading platform, with all details how it's gonna work, what's gonna be inside the all transaction and report system. And I basically taken a risk with $10 million to acquire 1 million. How dumb would that be? It would actually be a hype. But again, this transparency put more benefits for us as a company and for you as a members. For us, because we could actually show everything with the sincerely and make a redirection, restructure of our work, of how the process happening, and going away from the risk to the no risk model, because we were shown what could happen and we work with that. We keep going in that direction and we keep doing what we're doing. We resume in our activity. That's not how hype works. I can see that like 100 of members just left the Zoom conference, and it's bad for them because we going straight to the most important topic here, which is connect to ARP core. Initially, we talked with Conclave, with the top leaders, that we want to divide people to those who want to stay with us, of course, and those who want to just leave the company, get back their deposit, back to the break-even point, and go to whatever they want. But since we positioned ourselves not as the product that transferred to the other type of product, but as a product that resuming their activity, we would have a different resource, maybe, yes, but with the same login and password, the same structure. And from marketing point of view, it's great because we have the same building of team, we have the advantages in such position, and we dealing with separation exactly with everyone on the new platform with the same terms, with the same work, with the same arbitration direction, with the same marketing arbitration percentage is a bad word for that, actually. It's arbitration spread. It's approximately the same. The only difference here is that we not having our mind blown with the problems of control, how to actually make it all together. When we go in, transferred all the structure into the new resource, everyone would enter their accounts and will actually check what they have, what kind of assets are here in their control, and then they can make a decision and then separate themselves if they want to receive, of course, a recalculation, receive back their deposits, and go. But at the same time, if you want to stay, you will see the reasons for that. You would see the advantages and offers that we had for you, and then make a decision because everyone deserves to have a decision. So, a little information for those who want to terminate their contracts, what they actually get, how it all work. For those who want to just leave and get into the break-even point, get their deposits and go away, it's okay. In their back office, in their personal accounts, they would see how it works. There would be a question raised from which funds it actually could be made, like how we would repay with our own. Yes, the main amount of assets were blocked by exchanges, but it doesn't mean that it was a whole amount. We still have funds, and we can work with that. It of course wouldn't mean that we could get a recalculation and give you back everything in the same time. Of course not. There could be a quote with the repayment, and everyone who would have access for that to see exactly when they get back their amount of funds. But if the exchanges would get to conditions and actually return the funds, it would of course increase the time frame, and then it also mean that we would work with bigger arbitration assets, and we would get back to work much faster, which is great. That's what the person who want to leave and terminate the contract, what they actually get from that. Now to the person who would continue to work with us, because there's much more information for such members. And if we go into the part of the questions we had, if we would have the same network program, we would still have cashback, direct rewards, will they still be here? The answer is yes, there will be the cashback, direct rewards, there will be the levels in deep. It's the same. That's part of the model is here. If we're talking about the network program, we tested several models, including work with multi-accounting. Yes, it would mean that people could have multi-accounts, but it would be extremely difficult for them to handle such amount of accounts to actually receive the same amount of rewards. Yeah, it could give you some advantage, like maybe $2,000 at start, but then it's going to stop. So you would have to think twice if you actually need such. You need to get to such advantage, because it would be better to just work with real people to learn how to do it, to teach your partners how to work and receive network rewards as it is. The model is still here, remain the same. About arbitrage spread, still we go into the main model, which is USDT, and with network is going to be working network like Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP. The arbitrage spread will be high, of course, because we have a lot of directions in which we could work with such assets. And of course, the main model is pretty simple, but nevertheless profitable. If we go into talk about the work itself, I mean the whole process, how it's happened in the company. You remember when we had earn mode at the night time? Well, there was a little adjustment to that. Since we would work in mode 24 hours. The reason was actually that the international community didn't see the progress themselves, because when we start earn mode at the night time, they didn't see the progress, because at that time they would have daytime, which make a certain dissonance. But it's okay, it's gonna be different this time. I want to remind you that on the arbitration process, it's divided 50-50. 50% of the income go into the company on their foundation, their arbitration work, their profitability, and also providing rewards for network rewards, cashback, direct rewards, and so on, and the boost as well. 50% go into the client in the form of profit for the contract. For Arbitration Pro is 75% go into the client, while 25% is partially covering some of the network rewards. Partially. Yes. And about the events, yes. As you know, probably if you checked the record or were here with on the previous Zoom conference we had, you know that the event's still the same. We still host the event in Montenegro. We just going to make it a little better and continue doing with the same part of our roadmap. And I want to remind you, it's not kind of a restart. We reassembling and resuming our activity. We continue to work with the same system, with the same direction, but better, with greater tools, with more convenient for the partners, and more secure for ourselves, and better for the whole brand as well. It's not a restart. We continue doing what we done before. So yeah, it's we make it up to 1 hour. We cover such topics as what the company done for the period, what's gonna be for people who want to stay, and for people who just want to get back their deposits and leave. I think we're gonna host another international Zoom conference on Thursday, when we're gonna get in more details about when the platform gonna be active, how the whole process will go in, and how the recalculation will proceed. Actually, I can answer on that right away. There will be no recalculation. You will basically have the same assets you had before when we worked. But the same. It's gonna be the same. It's just the benefit from the company that everyone will get, no matter if you want to stay or you want to leave. You will have the same amount of assets in your accounts. Okay, but you'll get information on the official start, when it's gonna be opened, the preparations, what we going with plans, and integration of members back into the resource, how it's gonna work, how we proceed, and so on. Yes, on Thursday. Also, after the end of the Zoom conference, we would have, in a few hours, reactivate the chats, the community chats. So yes, you just let's be all respectful, because of course the bot's gonna be more in turn to work with much emotional people who use too much swears and so on. So please be careful in chats. If they're going to be renamed, ARP as a brand will be the same, but it's going to be ARP Group, as we mentioned before. And when the official start of trading platform will be in turn, there of course will be like ARP Group and the name of the platform. About the Zooms, since we continue to work, we continue our operations. Announcements would be 2 Zooms per week, just as before with me personally, because we want to inform our audience, our community about every important decision we have, the features, the steps we make in our roadmap, and so on, because you need to know that information and we need to actually inform you, make sure that our community is educated with such information. So yes, twice per week, that's international Zooms with me personally. On the Thursday international Zoom, we're gonna open the deadline for opening of our trading platform, and instructions both to the people who want to stay and members who want to leave, for both of them. And yes, that means we could wrap things up. I thank everyone for actually being here with me, because you are the best, and I really appreciate that you are always here for the community and listen to what I want to tell you. So, gonna see you on Thursday. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day, morning, evening, or night, depending on your time frame. And have a great day. That's what I want to say. Goodbye.